Hey, welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. Tonight I've got my dear and good friend Robert Shiepe of Custodian Files, and we have breaking news. Let me tell you the backstory as far as I ran into it just 20 minutes ago. My wife called me into the living room and she said, by the way, I listened to a video today that you're going to want to hear. It was an interview with Dr. Garry Nolan, and Diane Pasulka was with him on this interview. And I said, oh, yeah, they're good stuff. And so she sat down. Now, we were watching this on Pavel's Psychoactivo site. The Lehto Files is an hour and 12 minutes, something like that. So Pavel had already found two particular clips that he enjoyed and shared. My wife listened to the entire interview and she said it is absolutely spectacular. So I will listen to that tomorrow. So I didn't have time tonight. It's somewhat relatively late. Well, we watched the clip and my wife actually stopped the clip and she said, she looked at me bewildered and she goes, did you get what he said? I thought, well, I think so. And she said, no, you didn't. Listen to it again. Now, I'm not going to give the clip away. I'm going to share the clip with you. After this clip, now they talk a lot of intriguing subjects that Robert and I will probably do another show together. Tonight, we're just going to do a short show. But what they said blew my mind to the point to where I immediately contacted Robert, and he has graciously come on my show within 1 minute. That's how short of a notice to get him on my show because of what has just happened with Dr. Garry Nolan. Let's play this clip and listen carefully to what he says. Again, now the screen is going to say credit to Lehto Files because this is Pavel's channel. I'm giving credit to Pavel. I'm getting it from his Psychoactivo. And by the way, that was a pretty good podcast too on these guys. But the Lehto Files is the more complete one. Okay, enough expression. Let's get to this. Listen to this. This is so good. Okay.
Is the data that has so far compelled him the most, which I found really interesting. And I want to share with you guys what he said.
And we've had a few questions, Gary. Wim asked, what is the best data that you've come across? What is the best evidence for NHI that you've come across?
Well, the certainty claim has been misunderstood, but it didn't stop it from going worldwide. You know, Stanford scientists is 100% sure of this X, Y, or Z, which I hadn't actually said that. If you look back at what I said, it was basically, what do you think the chance that it is here? I said, if I were to make a bet, it would be 100%.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, at the end of the day, when you're placing a bet on the table on roulette, you're going to place it somewhere and you're 100% certain it's going to be that when you do it.
Yeah.
Or you go home having lost all your money. There's a beautiful hummingbird right outside the window looking at me. So the best evidence, I would say there's a lot of the best evidence, but stuff that I've been involved with Skywatcher, where we make this supposed call and then things show up within a time frame posted, and then I've got pictures of things like right next to the helicopter that showed up. Or just coincidence of this on one of our separate events when objects were seen and we have pictures of the stuff flying by rapidly. I mean, because it's moving so gosh darn fast that all you see is it across perhaps 2 or 3 frames of a rapid camera moving. And it's not a bug, so I don't care what anybody says.
Okay, so Robert, I would like to get your impression of what Garry Nolan just told the world through the Lehto Files on the incredible thing is the best evidence he claims does come from his work with Skywatcher, and we all know about their dog whistle. That's what he's talking about. We also do know that they do both groundwork and air work. So what do you think?
Wow, there's a lot going on here, Professor. A lot. So obviously he's trying to be very cautious and get everything right, as usually what scientists like to do. I get that. Now he's saying his best evidence is basically he calls in these UAPs, a dog whistle. He has a device which, in other words, pulls them in or makes them predictable or baitable, which is I'm very familiar with. And he appeared to say, look, we are recording helicopters, we are baiting these UAPs, and they are flying by very fast. And it just, and I get it, he's being very vague, he's not saying what kind of camera, how many frames per second. But at the same time, this pretty much fits the description of these UAP dragons that I've been recording since 2017. I mean, I put it this way, if it was the other way around, if Dr. Nolan or anyone else had been saying this since 2017 and now I started saying it, they would say, Robert, hey, this has already been discovered. But I understand that what I am saying is an extraordinary claim. So I understand it takes a long time. It just takes a long time. So I understand you have to just be patient. As a scientist, I know things don't move very quickly in science. Things should travel at light speed. In reality, everything's going about 55 miles an hour. So I'm sorry, that's the truth. Not to offend anyone, but I'm very frustrated in science when I look around and I see things are not being invented or corrected, rectified. I just put my hands up. But if I can interpret, if I can add on, enhance what he's saying, look, we're calling in UAPs. He doesn't call them dragons. I call them dragons because for the first year, I was certain they were a bug and they were dragonflies. I get that. I get it. And some of your viewers are saying, well, Robert, these are birds or bugs. So birds are easy to eliminate, very easy. So the only alternative is a bug. And in 2017, I had no second alternative. In other words, the concept of a small UFO did not exist yet, at least in my mind. And I've been studying UFOs since 1975. But the concept that larger UFO ships utilize small drones, I was extremely open-minded. I never thought of the concept. But, and just some of your viewers are going to say, Robert, how did you ever figure this out? I mean, just a large variety of things had to happen. A lot had to be in the right place at the right time. Heavy science background, clinical pharmacist, retired. So I had the time, was very successful. I invented the mail order pharmacy business. And that was in 1986. And I must have had 20 experts say, Robert, it cannot be done. What you're doing cannot be done. So I understand you have to just be patient. It could be done. And Google it. It's an extremely crazy successful business, the mail order pharmacy business. Well, how did after I retired in 2012 from Marina Del Rey, Los Angeles, for some reason, we don't know yet. For some reason, Marina Del Rey was invaded by the Coast Guard and Navy Black Hawks. What does that mean? Helicopters came in. They hovered over the largest marina in North America, Marina Del Rey. They hovered 200 feet, and they stayed there 4 hours every day. Now, just think about what I'm saying. The Coast Guard and Navy Black Hawks just hovering 200 feet for 4 hours over the largest marina in North America. That makes no sense. So I ignored it. Even though it was crazy paradigm, I ignored it. Well, it continued for 14 days.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
so at the end, finally, at the end of 14 days, I say, you know what? I'm going to take my camera. I'm going to record this. This is beyond not normal. I'm just going to record it. And at that point, I could see these small objects flying up to our helicopters extremely fast. Bottom line, 2,000 miles an hour. And that was 8 years ago, 14,000 hours of research. I now have 6,000 of these UAP dragon videos. Again, I call them dragons because I thought they were dragonflies, and I cannot think of a better name. It's not a video game. I'm not trying to make this a video game. I have nothing to sell, not books, movie, nothing like that. It's just I thought they were bugs. But you do enough research and you buy better cameras, and if you study science, and then basically probably what pushed me over the edge was it got to the point like, why are these things, why are these objects, why are these bugs only fly when the Coast Guard helicopters show up? And I said, you know, I can't get past that. Why? And even to this day, so if you check out my channel, Custodian File, and a lot of people watch, and I encourage people, this is all over the world. This is just not Marina Del Rey. This isn't something only I can do. You can do this anywhere in the world. You see a helicopter, take your phone out. You don't need a 20,000, there you go. Just like that, sideways landscape, there you are. Record, zoom in a little bit, not too much, because we're not trying to record helicopters or airplanes. We're using just the aircraft as a fixed object, and then look for a dot, a bullet going by, just a dot. And within 3 or 4 videos, you'll train your eye and you will see it. And these things basically, and I call that a tag, but basically, logically, they're reconning our aircraft. They're flying up to our aircraft. You can call it a tag, a recon, surveillance, a scan, a probe, whatever you'd like. I just call it a tag. They fly in the blink of an eye. Generally, if you're recording, now most cameras now are 4K, 60 frames a second. You'll get between 10 and 30 frames, which is obviously 1/6 to 1/2 second. So Dr. Nolan was saying, well, we got 2 or 3 frames. Again, he's talking about dragons. Now, what probably happened, in all fairness, if he has, I'm assuming he has a really good quality camera, but he said
he said he had a high-speed camera, and he also said, my impression, I've listened to this a few times before I shared it with you. My impression now this time is he appeared to me to be saying, assuming that he was in the helicopter, because he said these things came right up to the helicopter or right by the helicopter. And remember the last time I had you on my show just a couple weeks ago, we pretty much understand basically that bugs are not going to fly up to a helicopter that the blades are spinning so fast that there are several thousand pounds of pressure of air pushing down. Those bugs aren't going to survive that kind of a push of air to be able to fly the way you've been recording them. And Nolan then specifically said, and they're not bugs. Now he has hopefully some extra information for him to that sounded to me pretty definite. He said, yeah, there's people who are saying they're bugs. They're not bugs. So he may have other intelligence on with different types of radar. I wish he would have said something about K and X band radar like you have. Now, who knows? He may have that, and we may hear that from him later on. But we now know that Gary Nolan is seeing the dragons apparently, and he knows they're not bugs. That's why I wanted to call you. I said, my goodness, that sounds like Robert Shiepe's work.
Well, the synchronicity was perfect, Professor, because I just came back from dinner with my wife, and I'm literally walking in the door, and then you call. So the timing, the synchronicity, the universe was right on target here, was right on. And so a couple things. So either Gary is saying he's in the helicopter and he sees them fly by, in that case, if he is you are only going to record 2-3 frames at the most. But also, if he's on the ground and he's recording 2 or 3 frames, the assumption is he zoomed into the helicopter. So the helicopter took up 50% of the picture. And in that case,
he's not recording, someone on the ground could be.
And of course, well, you'd want several cameras.
Oh, absolutely. And we know they have them. We've seen enough of their documentary and some of the interviews and all. They've got the equipment. So pretty exciting. What I would like to propose somehow is we get a hold of Garry Nolan and let him know, hey, Robert Shiepe of Custodian Files has 6,000 videos. You want to see some extra evidence? This man's at Marina Del Rey. You need to contact him, and then let's get Gary on the show.
Sure.
I'm talking that.
Yeah, it'd be overwhelming, but I think it would be great. But if he is recording from the ground, remember I said earlier, hold your phone sideways landscape. Do not zoom in too much. The reason I'm saying that is 2 reasons. Most dragons, 80% of the time, will fly horizontal, okay? And sometimes they're perpendicular, vertical, but they fly horizontal. In 3% of the time, they'll zigzag, non-ballistic. But you don't want to zoom in too much because we're not here to record helicopters. So you only want to zoom in 10, 20%. Because you need a lot of sky. You need like 1,000 feet to the left, 1,000 feet to the right. Because when they fly by, you want to capture between 10 and 30 frames.
Yeah,
that's
they do fly by fast.
Yeah, they do, and that's really the science. And I don't know, maybe I make it sound easy, but again, it's 8 years and 14,000 hours of research. I could throw a lot of data. I can answer all your questions. Essentially, 2 years ago, the Pentagon confirmed that these things are going 2,000 miles on 4/19/23, because a lot of you say, Robert, give me facts. 4/19/23, the Pentagon issued a characteristics UAP to Congress, and on the characteristics, it was 2,000 miles an hour, and they triggered the X-band spectrum. Yeah. Now, if you want, I can go into that a little bit. I mean, I don't want to talk.
Let's do another show. It's a little late tonight, and we kind of did this off the cuff. I just wanted to break the news. Now, Pavel broke the news. Actually, the Lehto Files broke the news. But I don't know if any of these fine people know who you are. And I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful that I do have a connection with you. And so I wanted to tag you and get you in on this to get your perspective, because let's be blunt. And I'm not trying to falsely compliment you here. You are without question the world authority on these dragons based on the incredible amount of evidence you have, and your area where you live is one of the best sites for seeing and unlike you say, they're everywhere, but your particular setup is just congenial to you gathering a boatload of data, and that data could be invaluable to our scientists. So I just wanted to make sure we connected the dots with everybody.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I know you wanted to keep it short, but just let me just, the other day, yesterday, I go to lunch just a few miles from here, and I'm parking the car, and I see the fire department helicopter go by. And you're wondering, and if you're trying to investigate UAPs, UFOs, I really prefer the term UFOs, but you're saying, what is all this? Where are you going with this? So the government has asked every agency with a high quality thermal camera to fly into Marina Del Rey and look around. That's the level we're at. It's not 911, but it's extremely urgent. The government
is this recent, Robert?
Yeah. So, well, no, this has been going on for 8 years. But I'm saying yesterday, I just go to lunch. I see the fire department fly by. I know what he's doing. He's looking for dragons, even though nobody on the planet's supposed to know that. I know that. So as an emergency backup, I keep cameras on my roof, like Google format, the 360. I did it as an experiment. It's paying off extremely well. So what I do generally, I see a helicopter over Marina Del Rey. I just text myself to look at the timeline on the camera. It came in at 2:48 yesterday. I said, when you get home, look at your roof camera at 2:48. And then sure enough, you see the fire department flying in at a predictable flight path. And by the way, when all helicopters, when they come in and they start to turn and they bank right at the jetty rocks. If you look on Google Map, you'll see 2,200 feet of boulders. They're there to stop the kinetic energy of the ocean coming into the channel. Right there, consistently, when helicopters turn and bank, these dragons fly by. So just for the heck of it, I'm looking at the roof camera. It's nowhere near the quality of my balcony camera, but I see the fire department yesterday coming in, he's banking, and sure enough, dragon just flies by. I just smile. It's like, this is getting too easy. This is
Don't curse yourself. Don't
right.
wreck it.
Right. And I got to tell you,
10,000 videos of it.
I am a superstitious scientist. Let me explain, because you're saying, why would you say that, Robert? I do believe the observer can change the outcome of the experiment. So I'm not bragging, and I don't want to jinx it, but I'm saying it's extremely predictable. How predictable? Between 30 and 90%. Although I'm always asking my viewers, because I've had I think we're up to about 15 channels. 15 other people are recording dragons. They've started a YouTube channel. So we're up to like 15. And I said, record them and start your own YouTube channel. Because when we get to 55.0, that will be the sonic boom in the UFO community. That will be it. People will just say, it is what it is. They're here. So all my videos are open source. Feel free to ask all the questions you want. The only way to deal with this is to be transparent. Here's the information. Put it under electron microscope, quantum computing, AI. Do what you want with it. Very predictable. And I mean, I understand a lot of people, and some of your skeptics, they're good people. They're just saying, I need the evidence. I totally get that. I get that. I'm a pharmacist, but I need to see the evidence that a medication works before I will endorse it.
Sure.
I really do. I just don't trust what I read. I got to see the evidence. But like I said, I've put the 14,000 hours, and this is with predictability over and over. And so real quick, the characteristics, they trigger your car radar detector, the X and K band. They leave an audio click on your video because they're running on extreme high voltage. When they fly behind a metal pole, the gamma rays go through the metal pole, and it is recorded by your camera. So you see a ghost silhouette corona image of these dragons. They are predictable. They're baitable, and they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. So far, I mean, I tell people all the time, if you're in an area and you are not recording dragons, I need to know, because NASA eventually will want to go to that area, that zip code, that part of the world, and they will say, wait a minute, why are there no dragons right here? That makes no sense. And chances are there really is, they're everywhere. I mean, they truly are everywhere. And I have videos from all over the world. But I mean, I keep my fingers crossed, but so far nobody has called and said, Robert, I've tried this 10, 20 times. There are no dragons here. It's been 8 years. I'm waiting for that phone call, but I'm only getting the opposite. Not only are they telling me, Robert, I'm recording these, consistently they're telling me, Robert, I got a dragon on my first try. And I don't tell people you'll get a dragon on your first try. I tell them, don't give up on your first try. Record 5 or 6 videos out of fairness. But again, consistently, Robert, I got a dragon on my first. Remember, they're bullets. They're bullets. They're all over. If you want to research this, they're all over the air shows. The air shows being Thunderbirds, Blue Angels, Red Arrows. They go to air shows. They go to air shows. So look for a dot. In other words, train your brain. Just say, you know what? I'm going to try to find a bug here. Okay. use that paradigm as an introduction. And real quick, you got to watch YouTube on your computer. If you think you see something, hit K for pause, and below the K button is the arrow forwards and the arrow backwards. That's frame by frame forwards, frame by frame backwards. That's how I find all my dragons on YouTube. I do screenshots and I share them. I tell other people, and that's where we're at this point. So
okay. Now you said you have some new stuff that you've just recently shot, and you and I will get together and do a show on those here just short within a week or so, and we'll as again the spirit of just kind of updating. I have been so busy with stuff that I haven't had it. I don't see a lot of helicopters. I do have a medical helicopter that flies over my area periodically, but you've also said they do fly near jets as well.
Airline,
I mean, just helicopters, anything that's out there flying, more or less. So
Earth drones, balloons, birds, kites.
It'll be interesting when I start being able to record my stuff. But this is really exciting. So thank you for coming on the show on such drastically short notice.
But it's very exciting. The bottom line, Dr. Nolan saying, hey, there are these tiny objects flying by helicopters. And he's very politely trying to articulate that without giving away the secret sauce. But I've already given away the secret sauce. And there's there's hundreds of people.
Well, he gave away the key. These are not bugs, as many are saying. They are not bugs. So he has extra information, because you also were compelled, based on the data you've gathered with the various different types of instrumentation that you use, that they are not bugs after all. It took you a year. It's okay. That's why we're patient. It's all good. So now that you've determined, my suspicion is like you, they are using the FLIR and the X and K bands, radar, et cetera, and the infrared and all that. There's no question that they've got enough data that they can distinguish between bugs and the real deal. And inherently and logically, I can't think of anything that would prevent UFOs from being any size whatsoever. You know, periodically you hear about an account of the mother ship, and it's a mile wide. Come on, that's gigantic, ginormous, or as small as a bug. There's nothing to say if they're a certain size, and they can't be a UFO. So
precisely.
It's an open field, and the more we learn, this keeps enhancing us to be interested in such an astonishingly fascinating subject. So, you have any last closing words you'd like to say before we?
Gosh, I just want to thank your viewers for the open mind. Even the critics out there, all of you have been very polite, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the professional courtesy. And I understand extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. I have the evidence. I have the videos. And anyone's welcome to them. Anytime you can reach out, custodianfile@gmail. I'll send you all the videos you want. Why am I doing this? I've already, the pharmacy business was very good. I've retired. It's very good. It's for humanity. I want to see humanity get ahead. I really do. I don't want to see us being pulled back and super glued to the past. I'm tired of that. I want to see the future happen. Take my videos, use it as awareness. And I think good things are coming very soon. I get a good feeling about it.
Well said. And we are all very grateful for all of your efforts, all of your evidence, all of your time and money spent and all that. And we're jumping on this bandwagon with you, and we're helping you get the word out without question, because it's exciting for everybody. And so
This is what we've been waiting for.
Acknowledge your contribution without question. So, all right, you guys, that's what we've got tonight. We will be back with much more updates and information. And thanks for watching. Appreciate all your support. Hit the like and subscribe. Share the video with everybody you can. And happy dragon hunting. By the way, I do have your dragon still. Sorry. I will get that in the mail this week. Okay. That only leaves me tomorrow and Friday. So I'm not hoarding it. I'm just haven't mailed it yet because I've been showing it to people and they like it. So anyway, it is yours. I promise. It's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
All right, you guys. We'll catch up to you soon. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.